So dear students, in the last class I have discussed about centripetal acceleration, and there are various kinds of proof of centripetal acceleration I have told you. But for non-uniform acceleration, non-uniform circular motion, we have seen that basically for non-uniform circular motion there are two kinds of acceleration. If you talk about non-uniform motion, okay, two kind of motions I have told you. One is non-uniform circular motion case, okay, non-uniform circular motion case, and another is uniform circular motion case. Uniform circular motion case. Uniform circular motion case. And for non-uniform circular motion, I have discussed that there is two kinds of acceleration, and one is tangential acceleration, or sometimes it can be treated as transverse acceleration. Okay, this is tangential acceleration, but you can also call it as transverse acceleration. And another one is just centripetal acceleration, or sometimes it can also be called as radial acceleration. Radial acceleration, because it is along the radius. Okay, radial acceleration. So these two kinds of accelerations are there for non-uniform circular motion. But for circular motion, we have seen that this tangential acceleration is equal to 0 for uniform circular motion. Okay, so for uniform circular motion, there are only one acceleration, that is called radial or centripetal acceleration. Radial or centripetal acceleration. Okay, radial or centripetal acceleration. So now let me discuss about some problems based on these two kinds of acceleration, so that your concept will be clear. Okay, so you have to apply this concept in some problems. So some basic problems let me do, and before that I am giving you the formulas of tangential acceleration and the radial acceleration that I have actually derived in the previous class. Okay, so what was the tangential acceleration? At, or sometimes it can be written as a theta, whatever you can say. If at, then this means tangential acceleration, and a theta means transverse acceleration actually. So this is nothing but dv upon dt, and obviously this is the tangential velocity, and this is sometimes written as also alpha. Alpha, that means r into d omega dt. So these all are the form of tangential acceleration, and obviously if uniform circular motion, then omega is constant, so d omega dt is constant, or you can say vt is constant, so dvt by dt is constant. So this will be 0 for uniform circular motion, and you can say that at will be 0 is equal to 0 for UCM, for uniform circular motion. And then we have radial acceleration, or sometime it can be written as AC, that is centripetal acceleration, and that is omega square r, or you can write it as v square by r. And the resultant acceleration is obviously, if you talk about the resultant acceleration, then A, that will be root of r, AC square plus AR square, because I have discussed with you in the last class that there are two components. One is tangential, it can be written as AC, and another is radial, so this is AR, and the resultant of AR and AC, according to vector resultant, this will be A. Okay, so this was the actual outcomes from the last class. Last two classes you can say, these are the main outcomes, but I have discussed the things in great detail using a typical proof derivation. Okay, so now let me solve some problem, because at last ultimately you have to solve problems for competitive exam. Okay, so now let me solve some problems. So let me give you some first question, that a particle moves in a circle. A particle moves in a circle of radius 0.5 meter. okay, of the radius 0.5 meter with a linear speed of with the linear speed of 2 meter per second. 2 meter per second. You have to find out its angular speed. So find its angular speed. So find its angular speed. Angular speed. It's a very simple problem. Just you have to remember the formula only. Okay. So what will be its solution? So here what is given? Radius is given. So r is obviously 0.5 meter, and on the linear speed is given. That means v is given. That is 2 meter per second. So you have to find out just angular speed. So you have the relation just for angular speed and linear speed. So v is equal to omega. So omega will obviously v divided by r, and v is here 2 and r is 0.5. So that means 20 by 5, that is 4 radian per second. 4 radian per second. Okay, and this is actually the thing, is angular speed. Okay, now let me move to the next question. Okay, so next question is, a particle moves in a circle of radius 0.5 for the same circle. Okay, so please write down the problem. A particle moves in a circle of radius 0.5 meter at a speed that continuously increase. So find the angular acceleration of particle. Find the angular acceleration of the particle. Angular acceleration of the particle. If its speed changes, change from 2 meter per second to 4 meter per second in 4 seconds. Okay, so what will be the solution of this problem? So here radius is again given 0.5 meter, and the speed of the particle is increasing. That means it is accelerated motion, and the speed change from 2 meter per second to 4 meter per second. So you can say linear speed, that is v1 is equal to 2 meter per second, and after some time you can say that v2 is equal to 4 meter per second. So you have to find out the angular acceleration. So before finding out the angular acceleration, you have to find out the linear acceleration. So what will be the linear acceleration? So linear acceleration, actually change in velocity divided by time required. So change in velocity is here 4 minus 2, and time is also 4 seconds. So it will be 2 by 4, that means 0.5 meter per second square. So its linear acceleration is 0.5 meter per second square. So now what will be the angular acceleration? So for angular acceleration, you have the relation between the angular acceleration and the linear acceleration. It is a is equal to r alpha. Where alpha is the angular acceleration, So alpha will be just a divided by r, and here we have a is equal to actually 0.5. So 0.5 divided by r is also 0.5. So it is just 1 radian per second square. 1 radian per second square. Yes. 1 radian per second square. Okay, so this will be the answer to the problem. So now let me move to the next question. Okay. So next question is, this question is very important actually. The speed of a particle of radius r is equal to 2 meter, of radius r is equal to 2 meter, varies with time as v is equal to t square. So this is the relation between velocity and time. Find the radial, tangential and net acceleration. So you have to find out the radial, okay, tangential and as well as the net acceleration. And obviously at t is equal to 2 seconds. Okay, so what will be the solution? So here v is given. Okay, so v is given, that means v is equal to t square. This is given. So what you have to find out? You have to find out radial acceleration and tangential acceleration. Tangential acceleration is just dv dt. Okay, dv dt. So tangential acceleration is just dv upon dt. So this is actually 2t, and this is at t is equal to 2 seconds. It will be 2 into 2, that is 4 seconds. Sorry, 4 meter per second square. Okay, and what will be the radial acceleration? Radial acceleration, we have v square by r. So ar is nothing but v square by r, and v square is nothing but t square. So t to the power 4 by r. Okay, now t is nothing but 2 seconds. So you have to put 2 seconds. So 2 to the power 4 divided by r is 2. So that means 2 cube, that is 8 meter per second square. Okay, so this is the radial acceleration and this is the tangential acceleration. So what will be the net acceleration? Net acceleration will be, so net acceleration, you know, net acceleration will be equal to a, that is root ar square plus at square, and here ar is 4, 8 and 4, so it will be 8 square plus 4 square. So it means root 64 plus 16, so that is root 80, I think. Yes, root 80 meter per second square. Okay, so this is how you can solve these kinds of problems. Okay, and this is completely based on some angular variables, all the problems that I have discussed here. So now we will move to actually dynamics of circular motion. Okay, and some application of this centripetal force, and then I will discuss also centrifugal force also. Okay, so let me just give you the concept of centripetal force. Okay, we have discussed about centripetal acceleration in the last class, but now we like to study about the dynamics of circular motion. Okay, so let me give you the dynamics of circular motion. So let me dynamics of circular motion. So when you talk about the dynamics, then you have to know about the force acting on the particle. So for uniform circular motion, now we will completely move to only uniform circular motion. Okay, so please keep in mind. our goal is to solve all kinds of situations for uniform circular motion only, okay, according to our syllabus. And but we have find out that what will be the acceleration, tangential acceleration, okay, but here we will not discuss about this tangential acceleration. So force will be always acting along the radius. So we have for the circular motion, we have the acceleration along this direction, okay. So the particle will always accelerated towards the origin. So AR we have actually, and that is omega square r, or is equal to v square by r. So now what will be the force acting on this particle? If the mass of the particle is m, then you can write that force acting on this particle at each and every time, acting on that particle, F is equal to mass into acceleration, and that is mv square by r, or you can say m omega square r. And sometimes you can represent this omega in terms of frequency, that is 2 pi n. So if you take omega is equal to 2 pi n, then it will be m into 4 pi square n square into r, that means 4 pi square m n square r. So sometimes you can write it like this also, okay. So now what is the significant, what is the physical significance of this force, this Fc, centripetal force? At each and every point you can see, at each and every point the velocity is along the tangential. So at each and every point when the particle will move, the particle wants to go along the tangent, okay. And anytime if you suppose, let me give you an example, suppose you have a rope, okay, and at the end of the rope you have some object. Now if you rotate the object by using the rope, okay, along horizontal circle, then it will move. But you can find that the particle which is executing circular motion wants to go at each and every time along tangent, and anytime, at any instant of time, if the rope is break, okay, if the rope is breaking, then what will happen? The particle will move along the tangent, okay. So at this, from this experiment you can conclude that the particle will always actually tend to move along the tangent. But what we are going to do, we just give a tensional force each and every time towards the center, and that force is nothing but this centrifugal force. This force is nothing but actually this centrifugal force. So what is happening? We just forced the particle to move along the circle by giving this force along this center, okay. So at each and every time you can say there is a force, at each and every time there is a force along the center, and then only the particle will execute circular motion. And at each and every instant the force and velocity for circular motion, please remember, force and velocity are perpendicular to each other at this is the direction of v. So v is along tangent and the force is always along towards the center. So F is always perpendicular to v, and this is the condition for circular motion. And this force you have to do, or you have to apply this force at each and every instant of time. Whenever this force will disappear, the object will move along the tangent, and it will happen if that I have given you the example for a rotating pendulum, you can say, on a horizontal surface. Then you can see if your string or your rope will be break, then it will obviously go along the tangent, okay. So this is the main physical significance of the centrifugal force, that actually if you want to make a particle rotate along the circle, so if you want to any particle force to move along the circle, then you have to put a centrifugal force always at each and every instant of time. The particle need actually this centrifugal force so that it can execute circular motion, okay. So now in the next class I will discuss about the centrifugal force actually, and that is nothing but the pseudo force. I have told you about pseudo force when I am teaching actually for Newton's law. Okay, in Newton's law I have told you then when this pseudo force is appeared, and there the frame was accelerated. Obviously the pseudo force is appeared in the accelerated frame, but there the accelerated frame was linearly accelerated. But here we will see for rotating frame, that is also a accelerated frame, and there obviously the pseudo force will arise, and that pseudo force in rotating frame of reference, that is in non-inertial frame of reference. Obviously rotating means non-inertial frame because the acceleration is always there. So for rotating frame of reference we will see there is also a pseudo force, that is called the centrifugal force actually. And by using the centrifugal force and the centripetal force, we will discuss a lot of things in our daily that we have seen in our daily life. Okay, that is the turning of bicycle, the turning of car, etc. We will see the application of this. Okay, so thank you.